On today's episode, we're going to talk about some crazy trades, some crazy free agent additions. And if you're like me and you want the Ravens to make a splash in the next couple of months to get over that hump, then go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, okay? You never know if EDC watches. You never know if Steve Bisciotti watches. And if they come across this video and it's got like 1,000 likes, they might say, you know what? Let's do something about it. So if you haven't already and you want the Ravens to make a splash, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Welcome into the show, everybody. You are watching our Ravens mailbag. We do this every Tuesday evening during our live shows. We get viewers, watchers, listeners to ask me questions. I answer them right on the spot. So if you haven't already, join us every single Tuesday. Make sure you lock us in, hit that subscribe button. And let's get into the questions. Coming up from 619 Cali Factor, my guy with a $2 super chat saying, trade Andrews for Asante Samuel. We need corners. I like the idea. I would prefer a Mark Andrews trade just because of the guy you've got behind him and Isaiah Likely, the $11 million you would save in cap space, and because you know what? You trade, you still get something out of him. I don't know if Asante Samuel is going to be somebody you could get out of him. That seems like a little bit of a reach. We talked about this, I think just the other day, but the 33rd team said a third-round pick. I would do that. A third-round pick, I think that's probably the highest you're going to get. You know, Mark had a great year, but he's aging. He's getting older, not getting any younger. So I think Asante Samuel's a little bit too high. But I do agree. This team does need corners. I think they're going to address that in the draft. Next question we got from Yika with a $5 super chat saying, hey, Joey P., last week I saw a video on the Ravens YouTube channel saying that they're the betting favorites to win the next Super Bowl. Thoughts? Hello from Tokyo. Hello. Namaste, Yika. That's not Japanese? Okay, well, I'm sorry to any konnichiwa. That's what I was looking for. Konnichiwa to Yika. Yes, I think that I'm not surprised. Anytime you've got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry's going to be back for another year. Zay Flowers is going to be back for another year. For the most part, this is going to be a very similar team. And so I'm not surprised at all. I still believe that every time Lamar Jackson is your QB1, every time you go out and play a football game with number 8 under center, you've got a pretty damn good chance of winning that game, okay? So doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I kind of love it. Sets the expectations high. Hopefully they surpass them, and by surpass them, I mean win it. Hope you're enjoying Tokyo. Next one coming up from Marshy with about 5 Ys. After the recent news, should the hashtag Ravens trade for Jaire Alexander? Great question, Marshy. The news he's talking about comes from Rob Demovsky. Says there are strong indications that Alexander's timeline with the Packers will end without him playing another down. Multiple team sources have privately expressed their frustration with Alexander's inability to stay healthy and or play throughout injuries. And I don't know if that means trade. I kind of am getting the sense that he might just get cut by Green Bay, okay? Because it would save them a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money if they cut him. Post 6-1 would be about $17 million in cap space saved up. And so I don't think anybody's going to want to take on that contract. I really don't, especially for a guy who's played 14 games in the last 2 years. It just doesn't make sense for me. I don't think Baltimore trades for him. However, if/when he does get cut, would not be surprised at all to see Baltimore in the running to sign a guy like Jaire Alexander. We all know about him and Lamar Jackson's history together. They played college ball. They loved each other. They've practiced against each other in camps, you know, Packers, Ravens. They love seeing each other, okay? So would not be surprised in the slightest if they sign him after he is released. Possibly. Let me know, would you trade for Jaire Alexander? Give me a T, give me a P in the comment section down below. T for trade, P for pass. Let me know your answer in the comment section. This next one coming up from High, I still don't know how he does that with his name. Makes no sense. I think it's cool nonetheless. Saying hashtag Ravens, will the Ravens sign a wide receiver? I hope so. I think it'd be pretty cool. I think that it is kind of needed. I've talked a lot about the free agents that are available right now for Baltimore. A lot of guys that could come in here and be a wide receiver 3, which I think is what this team needs, okay? Zay Flowers is your wide receiver 1, flat out, okay? Wide receiver 2, Rashad Bateman, no questions about that. But then your next best wide receiver is Nelson Aguilar, who I don't believe is good enough to be a wide receiver 3 in this NFL anymore, okay? And so I look at guys like Josh Palmer, DeAndre Hopkins, those kind of guys who are pending free agents, and I believe those are guys who could step in and in year 1 be a reliable target as that third wide receiver for a guy like Lamar Jackson, okay? So I don't know if they will. I hope they do. That's basically what I'm saying. Next up, we got Ravens King, #Ravens. We should try to go after Davante Adams this offseason. I agree, Ravens King. He's going to get cut. I don't think anybody's going to trade for that contract. I wouldn't want this team to trade for this contract. In fact, this team couldn't even trade for that contract, okay, with the way the Ravens cap space is as of right now, with how much Davante Adams is expected to be paid. I would love it. I think he could come in here and be a real asset. If you remember when the trade rumors were going around in early October, Baltimore was a place that he mentioned, okay? He's talked about how much he loves Lamar Jackson before. What's going to be interesting is the Aaron Rodgers aspect of it. Okay, I think there's a good chance that whatever team Aaron Rodgers goes to next is where Davante Adams is going to go, okay? And so I don't know how likely it is that he'll end up in Baltimore, but I would love it if Baltimore made a run at him in free agency after he is eventually cut. What I think you guys should make a run at is chatsports.com/RavensQZip, okay? We've got these awesome quarter zip hoodies. I know February's coming to a close. March is coming in. That means a little bit of warmer weather, but it's still a little cool, so this is just the perfect little mixture of them both, okay? You're sleek, you're stylish, you're comfortable, you're not too cold, not too hot. Best part is you can get them $25 off right now. They were $60, now they're $35. Chatsports.com/RavensQZip. That's where you need to head out to take advantage right now. Moggs coming up next. #Ravens. Joey, how do you feel about trading for Michael Pittman Jr.? Maybe trade Andrews for him. Still have comp picks to trade for a vet at edge like Judon. I like a couple different trade rumors in that one. I like Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's one of the more underrated wide receivers in this game. I truly do. I think what he's been able to do in his career in Indianapolis with their quarterback situation as of recent, he's got guys like Joe Flacco, Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson throwing him the ball, and he seems to be really, really consistent, okay? I don't love the fact that you probably have to give up a decent bit to get him and then also have to pay him. Doesn't make necessarily a ton of sense with the way that this team is structured right now with their cap space. I think they could be interested in Andrews. I think they're going to be looking at a tight end. I think Tyler Warren to Indianapolis could be a real possibility in the draft. And so I would think about it. I'd have to see the official trade, but I like the thought. I think Michael Pittman could be a stud. And then also still have comp picks to trade for vet edge like Judon. I think I would love Judon. I think that Baltimore has made a history of taking older edge rushing targets, making them really successful at the latter ends of their careers. I think the same could be done for Matt Judon. Next question from Xlight, #Ravens. Is our Super Bowl window closing? No. Quick answer, long one. As long as you have Lamar Jackson on your team, I think you can always win a Super Bowl. Okay, I know that the next couple years, this team might not be as well-rounded because of the money that you're giving Lamar Jackson, but still in the same breath, you have him. Okay? Look what you were able to do with him in the backfield 2 years ago, Gus Edwards, right? Not that great of a backfield. No Derrick Henry. And then you had Zay Flowers, a younger Rashad Bateman. You still made it to the AFC Championship game. Sure, you had a fantastic defense, but I think that's not going to change. Okay, I think the defense is always going to be competitive, just like it was at the end of this past season. So I think with Lamar at the helm, with 8 under center, you're always going to be in talks to win a Super Bowl. I think he will win one. Okay, I would almost guarantee it. Okay, next one coming up from Freeway Cuda. #Ravens, how about trading Andrews and a pick for a DB like Sauce Gardner or J.C. Horn, draft an edge first round, then get a safety next round like the guy from South Carolina? I like it, Freeway. A little bit of like playing EDC, okay? You got a lot of components to this. I love it. The one problem I have with this question is you say draft an edge first round. If you trade for a guy like Sauce Gardner, they're not just going to take Andrews in a second rounder. They're going to want your first round pick. Okay, and so I don't know if you'd have your first round pick. That's the great thing about edge rusher, though, is I think it's a really, really deep draft, a really, really deep class for that position. So you might not get a guy like a Mike Green, James Pierce Jr. in that first round, but second round, third round, Jared Ivey. There's still a bunch of great edge rushers you could possibly get down to. Izaraku, the kid from Virginia Tech, and so I would do it. But again, Sauce Gardner is going to be looking to get paid. Same with J.C. Horn. And it all comes down to cap space, all comes back to that $8.98 million that the Ravens have. Just not a lot, unfortunately. Ravens King, #Ravens. I would love for us to get Paulson Adebo in free agency. He would fit in this defense. I like it. I don't think he'd be incredibly expensive. And I think, like we've talked about this week, you are about to lose, I believe, Brandon Stevens, Arthur Mollett, and Trey White. Okay, and so you got a great solid top two in Nate Wiggins and Mon Humphrey. You need another corner in there. Paulson Adebo will be available. I think he's a massive step up from Brandon Stevens. I think he'd fit in this defense as well. I would love that Ravens King. Next up, Moggs, #Ravens, is Jakobi Meyers as a wide receiver one. Great question. Let's go ahead and check in on Jakobi Meyers and see what he was able to do this past year. Yeah, I think he would be. I think he might even could be a solid wide receiver too. I think I would maybe even bump Bateman down to wide receiver 3 if you got a guy like Jakobi Meyers. I would love that addition. Again, it's going to cost you a little bit. He's had 4 straight seasons of 800 or more yards. This last season, he was over 1,000. And I think that Raiders defense believes they're only a quarterback away. Okay, I truly believe they think that. So I don't know if they'd be willing to part ways with their best wide receiver this upcoming offseason when they believe that they're so close. It might be crazy, but that's kind of what being a Raiders fan is. Last question of the day from Nikki Lopes. What's up, Nikki? Should the #Ravens sign Josh Sweat? He's my number one free agent edge rusher target. Okay, I know Khalil Mack's out there. I love Khalil Mack. Josh Sweat's younger. You saw what he was able to do in the Super Bowl. Big players make big-time plays in big-time moments. That was the biggest moment you can get, okay? And he played his best football at that stage and in that moment, okay? I don't think it'd be incredibly expensive either. 3 years, around $18 million a year. I know you don't have a lot of money right now. You can make some moves to free up a ton of cap space. You can make that happen. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. Okay, Josh Sweat, I think he can be what takes this defense from good to great. This team struggled getting consistent pressure on the quarterback, especially in the playoffs. In that playoff game against Buffalo, Josh Sweat comes in here. I think he makes a big difference, okay? I would love it. Great question, Nikki Lopes. What say you guys? Should the Ravens sign Josh Sweat? Give me a yes. Give me a no in the comment section down below. Weigh in for me. What say you? Thanks so much for watching. It's been an awesome week right here on the Ravens Rundown. Again, if you guys want to be a part of that Tuesday live show, if you guys want to be a part of that mailbag segment, then just join us every Tuesday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern Time when we go live. Make sure to ask your questions to make sure you don't miss the next one. Hit that sub button, turn on those notifications right now.